JP. Whoa. Whee. Better wake up. Whoa. Better shake up, shake up.
I wanna wake up. I wanna shake up.
Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So for those who are new here, I want to welcome you to the family. This is a safe space, and this is where my husband and I are sharing our life's journey. And starting with me, well, I am now at part 4 of this journey series, and we are the Lovels. Well, I'm Olivia Lovell, and subscribe to us to learn more about where God has taken us from and why we're here in this particular season. And we hope that our journey, our testimony blesses you. So for those who don't know what I'll be talking about, you need to pause the video right now. I'm going to wait until you stop, and you're gonna head over to our video listing, select playlists, and choose the journey playlist and select part 1, part 2, part 3, and I believe this is part 4. Nevertheless, I'm ready to get right into it, so let's go. So we're back. Now we are at January 2019. New year, new thing. I'm not sure if I told you guys before, but I decided with Sidine that I was going to go on the 21-day Daniel fast, and in December 2018 I was on an unplanned, unintentional fast. Like, I could feel my spirit fasting, my flesh fasting. I had no desire for food. I was just really into the word, and I was getting downloads and instructions, and I was being obedient. I also had shared about a prophetic word, and so far 2 things came true. I met a man by the name of Jonathan, which was a very good thing, and then I was also a confirmation for the fact that I should be organized and disciplined in this season. So here we are, starting the Daniel fast. So my sister decided that she was going to, well, she got into school, medical school in Grenada, and she was going to make that transition. Both our parents are overseas, and so it was my responsibility to ensure that she arrived safely. This was our first time traveling. I'm a frequent traveler, yeah, and so I wanted to make that seamless as possible, especially with the layover that she may have and the different stops. So we sat in my Haven, that's the apartment that I lived in, and we were on the floor, and I remember we were looking at flights. Now, this is my sister's story to tell, but I'll pinch and let you guys know that we were looking at flights without school fee paid. Let's just say, because you know, we have some crazy faith over here. So that's exactly what we're doing. So we're going through looking at flights and stuff, and I reached out to my cousin. I was gonna buy my ticket. I reached out to my cousin and said, can I use your credit card to make the purchase, etc. So we had 2 tickets to purchase, and when I was going through 2 separate tickets, well, the same flight to go but different flights to come back, because we had different return dates. So I was going to take vacation, and she was going to come back a few months later, probably 4 or 5 months later, because she had school. So in that season, were going through, and I saw a flight that was stopping. I think it's in St. Vincent, then Trinidad, then it goes to Grenada, and then on return it stops in Grenada, then Antigua, and then St. Vincent, like 2 other small islands, and then it goes to Jamaica. And I was like, well, I'm for this one. The price was fine, and so I took that flight. My sister was like, well, I don't want that for my return. I want to leave, go to Trinidad, and like a flight from Grenada, you have to pass through Trinidad and then come straight here, no layover. I'm like, girl, I want the experience of even touch and go for the other nations. So that's my flight. So we booked the flight the night, and after booking the flight, we started talking to our mother. And in that moment, she was like, "Oh, guess what? You've been blessed." And my sister gets her tuition money to pay, so that's sorted out. So we're ready now, ready to pack our bags. Now, let me tell you a little backstory about Olivia. And this is what I understood in this season about myself, that God will tell me to do something and I just do it. I don't ask no question. He will be like, "All right, Olivia, get up." I'm up. And then now, I'll be like, "Wait there. Why am I stand up and everybody sit down? Like, God, what you do? I don't understand. No. And I start going in panic. I'm like, "God, help me. I'm standing." So I really am that person. I always just run towards the cliff, jump off because himself a jump, and mid-air, I'm like, yeah, help. There's so many of those stories I could tell, but this was one of those jumps. And so I went to Grenada. I honestly felt like I was on a mission. So, you know, when people go on trip, them kind of titivate up, like their nails done, hair done, everything. And quote unquote, this was supposed to be my vacation. Not happening. So this was like 3 weeks or 2 weeks into January now. Doing the Daniel fast, doing it diligently, working, putting my vacation time. They didn't approve it, but I still took the days. Yeah, that's me. If God said go, I am going, man, like it or not. So I went on this journey. In my spirit, I felt like I was on a mission. Honestly, I've done missions before, and I just really felt like this was something that I needed to do at the time. Even the Airbnbs that I booked, the person that I stayed with first, up to today, we still have a relationship. God bless you, Candy. And even when I went to the other Airbnb, it was a spiritual place, and I have to do a whole series on that. That encounter is a whole series on its own. But best believe I met the right people at the right time, and God was moving. The things that I said, the things that I did were all in alignment with God. And I remember even one of my friends, the person I engaged while I was there, he said to me, "Olivia, you know, you're very spiritual." Like everything referred to the spirit to me. I never seen nothing in the flesh. And mind you, I was fasting, and I was fasting and praying about certain things, right? One of these things were one of the prophetic word, because I was in a desperate place of wanting more of God, so that I'm not consumed with wanting a husband. And I was like, "God, am I really called to marriage? Because this desire to have companionship, no normal. And I don't want to fall, and I don't want to be entangled with anybody. I'm in an entanglement. Okay? I don't want no situationship. I don't want none of those things. I want a husband." But I'm not sure if I told you guys this, but before I left, I think it was a couple days before I left, I had gone to a meeting in Kingston with a friend. And at the end of the meeting, we're liming, we're chilling, right? We're just hanging out, and we're having good conversations. And one of the line of conversation went to the point of where women coming over guys' house knowing that, you know, the next thing is gonna happen. And I was saying to them, I'm in a space where if I am friends with you, if we're hanging out, if we're getting to know each other, I am not going to partake in that. That's not my desire. Only at the junction of our wedding that I will do that. I've made up my mind. And everyone there, including my friend, told me, "No, that not gonna happen. You're not gonna find no man that's gonna wait on you till marriage." And I was like, well, obviously it's one or two things. It is either he isn't born as yet, or two, he's a virgin. Nevertheless, fast forward to back now, I'm in Grenada, and I was just so focused on God and the move of God, and I was seeing his grace, and I was seeing how he was showing up on my behalf. And the details of that, I really won't get into it, but Grenada was a mission. I went there on mission and purpose, and I fulfilled it. Now, this came to the ending of my fast. This is January 21. And I remember being in the apartment on the phone with my mentor, the same one that gave me the prophetic word. And I had nowhere in Trinidad where I had a 23-hour layover to stay. And I was getting anxious. And so I called my sister and asked her to help. And she said, okay, I can help. And she sent me an Airbnb. I think I can put it right here. And then she asked her partner at the time to continue to help me because she was going to bed. And he was sending me some options, and on the phone with my mentor, and we're just praying and stuff. And the options he was sending to me, they were irritating me because I didn't want them, I couldn't afford them, and I just couldn't be bothered. And when I look at the time, it is almost 12 o'clock and I will be there at 7 o'clock, so, or 9, one of them, and I don't know how this is gonna work out. So I said, you know what, my mentor said to me, just choose one, and I chose the first one that my sister sent, and I paid for it. And I went to bed late. I went to bed like 2 o'clock, and so the driver had to come and wake me up. The whole drama. And I got to the airport on time, and I was praying diligently and asking God to just make way, make room. But what was interesting about this Airbnb is that normally when you book your Airbnb, you don't normally get an immediate response from the host. It normally takes a few hours, and I knew that I booked past like 12 o'clock. So it was like I'm coming in a few hours, and I wasn't worried or expecting to hear back from the host. Nevertheless, I got a response, and he shoot me his number, and we started talking on WhatsApp, and we were just communicating. He was asking about my plans, my arrival time. This was my first time in Trinidad, which was yes. And a part of me, before even the conversation with the Airbnb host, I was getting annoyed with God, because I was like, I've done my mission, send me back to my yard, meaning take me back to Jamaica. I had no desire to go to Trinidad again. I was wondering, like, what's the purpose of this one day layover in Trinidad? So I was irritated, fleshly, like I'm tired. Actually, I was physically exhausted too, because this fast was intense, and I'm just couldn't be bothered. I wanted to just go on a flight, sleep, and reach back to Jamaica. And I was praying God, like, please just take me back home. Anyways, he had other plans, and so I boarded the flight in the morning and I landed in Trinidad. By the time I breathed me there, Trinidad, it was a short flight, and the conversation with the Airbnb host was so good that I felt comfortable. I felt like, yeah man, things are gonna take care of. I don't feel like I carry that spirit of fear or anxiety doing something new, and so that wasn't really a bother to me. And the fact that I just left it to God, because there's nothing else I could do right now. I had to go to Trinidad, and so at least I got an Airbnb, a host that was not just leaving me hanging. I got a ride and so forth. Landed in Trinidad now, and the Airbnb host actually picked me up. He said he was gonna send a driver, but he came, and it was a very good experience. Now, he's a Hindu, and because of where I was spiritually, my spiritual alignment, my spiritual elevation, I could connect with his spirit, and we had such rich conversation, and he was moving like a man of God in serving others. He picked up a stranger on the road. No, you know, I'm in a foreign country. Hear me, I'm a patois. But those who don't understand, I'm in a foreign country, right? And you are in a car with a man that you don't know, who takes up another man on the road. Wouldn't you be worried as a female? I'm sure. Comment below and tell me. Strange land, strange man pick up another man. This not look too good. Nevertheless, and I guess that's my word for this year, nevertheless, I was not worried. I was just like, wow, good people around. He was saying that it's hard to get taxi here and so forth, and I don't know the area. I really don't care, and I was not worried. My spirit was not disturbed. And good thing this gentleman was also going to the mall that I wanted to go, and so he brought him to the mall with me. No, I expected him to drop me off and then arrange for another ride to bring me back to the Airbnb, but he didn't do that. He stayed, and it was a very ordained reason for him to stay, because for those who haven't been to Trinidad, as you land, you better change your money, okay? Because they only use TT dollars. So I went to the mall. It's close to the airport. I would expect that I could buy things with US dollars. Nope. And so I had to run back to the Airbnb host. Well, I told him I was gonna go into the bank to change the money, and he was like, no, I'll buy it for you and you just pay me the US. Favor. So this was like the second favor of God that I'm recognizing, and I was so grateful. Oh no, third favor, because when I got into immigration, I was fast-tracked through the place, through where the crew go through. So third favor, and I was paying attention, guys. This is about 4 years ago, and I still recall clearly how this interaction or this encounter went. And so I was like, yes, God, I see you. So I bought the gifts that I wanted, and then I told him I wanted some veggie roti because I was just coming off the fast. So I told him I wanted a veggie roti and I wanted doubles and so forth. Some of the little Trini things, and I was exhausted, so I wanted to go back. So he drove around, got me some nice roti, and then we went to the Airbnb, and he brought me to the room, and you know, it was just a very wonderful experience. And he left, and then he brought someone with him, and he introduced me to the person. Introduced me to the person, said if I needed anything, he wouldn't be on property, but this person will assist me if I needed anything at all. So I said sure, and closed the door and bolt my door, because no, it kind of dawned on me like, wait, where are you? When I think about it, it's really, I don't know. I was not using my brain at all. I was just using my spirit, and now I'm in this place that I don't know, and it very out of place, like not that close to anywhere. You have to walk a good distance to really see things. And so it was like, and it's like a motel style room, so I was like, oh God. But I was on my phone, and I was still doing a lot of spiritual feeding. So persons back home, I was getting a lot of downloads that I was delivering, and I was also going through a spiritual attack that I was very much aware was a spiritual attack, and so I could not respond in the flesh, which Olivia, which when I speak about Women of Destiny, I will share more about that growth and its journey. But Olivia in the flesh would have answered, but could not answer because Olivia's flesh was dead. Just saying, my spirit was rising, and I just had to succumb to wherever the spirit led me and how it spoke through me. No control. Anyways, while in the room, I was talking to a friend. I was sharing with her the download that I was getting. She received it. I was doing what I needed to do. I was praying, I was crying, I was listening to the word. I was just in the presence of God. No, I was tired, as I said before. Oh, before he left, he had come back, brought me to the road to get the doubles, and then we came to the room, and that's when he introduced the other person to me, because he was now officially leaving and wanted me to know that this person will take care of me if there's anything that I need. So thank you, Deepak. Utterly grateful for that introduction. You know why. But guys, I was ready now to bait off everything and go lie down because your girl got an early morning flight. So this was late evening, early night, and I went to have a shower. When I go in the bathroom now, the water not going down. And so I called Deepak and I said, XYZ, the water is not going down. And he said, no problem, I will send the person to assist you. Okay, now girl was ready to shower. Not that I had on any clothes except my towel. So I was actually ready to step in the shower. So when he said he was gonna send the person, I had no time to put myself together, and so I had on only a towel. I was still listening to the word on the television and stuff. That was some TD Jake series, and let the person in. They came with a plunger and they went to deal with the bathroom. I was still on my phone, ministering. Click, 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 click. When this gentleman was leaving, the door was open all the time, but when he was leaving, he turned around at the door and he said, may I ask you a question? And I said, sure. Now this is where I put down my phone and I'm ready for a conversation, because your girl been on a mission and she's ready for another mission. I'm just joking, but I love to talk about God, if you know me. And so I was ready. He said to me, are you a Christian? And I was like, I don't like that name, but I'm a believer of Jesus Christ. Call me a follower of Jesus Christ. And he was like, okay, why? And I started explaining why I made that separation. And he said, well, I asked because of what you're listening to. And while in my conversation, I kind of ended up sharing my story with him, this stranger. I don't think I've done that, but not in the detailed extent of which I went. And while I was speaking, he kept saying, I could feel his energy, like there was something more that he wanted to say, but he was like holding it back. And he kept saying like, oh, I will tell my story when this happens, and I will tell my story when that happens. And I was like, no, you should open your mouth and speak. No, you have a story now. And he was like, no, I'm not ready or prepared. He was kind of reluctant, but the conversation was so rich that I invited him in. I told him to close the door, and he stood a little closer to me while I sat on the bed. And the conversation was just a very healthy conversation about God. About an hour and a half later, he said that he had to go because another guest arrived, and he left. No, I went right back to my phone, told my mom I'm gonna bed, and I went to shower. And after I showered, I got another message like probably an hour later, to ask if I was interested in continuing the conversation. I was like, all right, by all means, I'm gonna get ready now. And in putting on a clothes, I remember I put on a dress that has like a tie at the neck, and then it had a low cut, so my cleavage was showing. And I remember my neck just hurting me. It was hurting me, and I loosened. I really don't like things on my head. Like, this is probably too tight. No, it's not. This one is loose, but I don't like to feel things, so I wear a lot of loose clothes. I don't like clothes. I don't like to feel clothes on me. So it was hurting my neck, and I loosened the knot, and then the pain was still there. So I tried to just barely knot it, and it was just paining me, like extreme pain. So I took it off and I said, okay, fine. I had lost, guys, I had lost so much weight. I lost over 30 pounds in less than 21 days. Okay? So all the clothes that I had were big clothes, like big. So I had a jeans that was ripped that I thought was a nice sexy jeans. it was now a boyfriend jeans, how big it was on me. So I put that on, and I put on this shirt, this gray shirt with Pray on it, but that was designed by Hope Tees. And yeah, I said, okay, we can meet. And he had asked if I wanted to come down. I was like, sure. But then I said, since the time it was about 8 going on, probably 9 going on 10, I said, since it's so late, could you take the iron to me? I will just prepare my clothes for tomorrow, because I don't know when this conversation will end, and we'll talk. But I felt in my spirit in that moment, like, yes, you are to pursue me. No, guys, there was no thought about liking this guy. There was no, oh, he's so handsome, or none of those things, none of that. So I don't know where that thought came from, but I agreed to it for whatever reason. And a few hours later, he came to my room. No. So guys, we're at the meat of the matter now. He's now at the room. All I knew is that this gentleman that stood in front of me, I invited him in. I was fully clothed, and I gave him some pillows on my bed. So I said, you could sit at the bottom, you could sit down there, I will stay up at the top. Guys, do not do this, okay? I was being led by the Spirit. Told you before, I'm very obedient. I still had no feelings, no thoughts of feelings or emotions for this gentleman. That was not the objective. The objective was for us to have good conversation like what we were having before about our faith, our life's journey, you know, just what related to us. We were just having good conversation. And at this point, he laid down. We were just talking, like him catch up on the bed, and we the one side, I was talking, we're vibing. And while he spoke from my end, I was able to envision it. So it's not like he was giving much description, but I could see what he was talking about. And one particular point stood out when he was mentioning something about a ball. And I said, oh, it was on top of a hill and it rolled down, like the ball was rolling towards you. And he was like, girl, who are you? So I'm like, nothing. He's like, wow, how could you know this? And I was like, I don't know. So while he continued to talk, I could finish his sentences. I really understood clearly what he was saying, and his story was really impacting me. I really understood what he was saying. Anyways, remember that roti I told you guys about in earlier, or the other video? I don't know if it's one video or two. Nevertheless, told you that's my word. The roti. Hungry now, guys. This is 10 and now it's 3 o'clock. 3 a.m. guys. 3 in the morning. What could we have been talking about for so long? Nothing but just ourselves. And I knew I had to wake up like probably 5 to get to the airport. And so I put it to 6, and I said, all right, let me just get the roti and we could finish talk as we eat. So we were going downstairs. So we exited the room and he went before me. And while as I closed the door and I turned to look at him, so we're going down the pathway, I felt in my spirit where the Holy Spirit told me, that's your husband. No.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
What do you mean, my husband? I don't like him. I don't know him. He don't know me. What husband? Where? What are you talking about? No, man. Remember that I just heard his life story. And you guys would have heard his life story. husband wear. That not add up. No, there's no. What do you mean? This was me and God. Like, no. First and foremost, this man loves football. From I was at primary school, the first, like, after preschool, basic school, then you have primary school, which is probably like your middle school or your elementary school. No, two boys that play football as husbands. They could be boyfriends, but not husbands. I don't want you. God, what are you doing? Plus, irk, their toes are ugly. They kick ball every day with them ugly toes. Ugh. I don't want that. I want a nice toe guy. So what are you talking about, God? Come again. Anyways, guys, I was battling these thoughts. I really could not understand what God was doing in this moment. And so I was having these thoughts going down the stairs, looking at this man like, this not add up. No, I know this. And I remember like tears coming now. So by the time we got into the kitchen to heat the roti, to microwave it, he was basically through with telling me his story. And I remember I sat down to eat, started eating, and he was finishing his story. And tears was in my eyes, tears was in his eyes. I was crying because of what I knew I was talking about God, and also more tears were coming because of his story. And then he left the room, and I was like, okay, perhaps he's crying or he went for something. Maybe tissue for me. I don't know. Anyways, this gentleman came back in and he was like, so Olivia, you're an angel. So please tell me what I'm thinking. I know what you're thinking, sir. And I'm not going to say it because it's a no for me. It's a no for me. I don't want no footballer. No for me. And he kept pursuing me to tell him what he was thinking. I don't know why this man feel like I have some superpower that I can read in mind, but it's a no for me. Guys, let me just tell you something. During all of our conversations, there was never any conversation about, I like you, you look nice, nothing. Zero, nilch. So how did this come about? How did this come about? Where did this thought of husband and whatever he's thinking came about? Guys, I sat at the table eating my roti, could not finish the roti, bawling, head down, saying, God, this man toe was ugly, I cannot do this, da 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 da. And the Holy Spirit said, look at his toes. Guys, you will not believe. Pause. Do you remember when I told you that when they pop down? Yes, when they real pop down. And my toes, the chaka chaka, you know when the nail really want to do a chip off? But they actually even have a chip toenail. White nail polish, so it's very evident that they need to get done. And so I looked at his toes. Obedient Olivia looked at his toes. And they were better looking than mine. No, cut nothing. His toes were better looking than mine. So I had to hush up. Activation Hush Ministry. Guys, I looked up at him and he was shaking his head saying yes. And I was looking at him and he was looking at me. And I was like this and he was like this. And he said, yes, you're my wife. Insert tears. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew that he felt the same feeling or he heard the same calling. That's the same. He heard the same calling of us being called to marriage. And we looked at each other. We said, God, have your way. And we held hands and we prayed. We prayed and we asked God. So this was my first time touching him. We held hands and we really prayed and we really asked God to seal what is happening, and if this is his will, let it be done. We both feel that this is what he wants and we don't understand what will happen, but we're saying yes. And while we sat there, you know, I shared to him, I looked at him and I was telling him like, bro, I say yes, you know, but this was not what I want. And he was like, girl, you think I you what? No, me not want you. And we're laughing and we're like, okay, we're heading back upstairs now, and I'm like, stop, let's take a picture. Click, and there it is. That's our very first image of us being together. That was January 22nd, 2019. And that is how I met my husband, Jamaica Lovell. So I'm going to present you guys to my husband, and he's gonna share his story. You're gonna learn about him, and then we will start telling our story together, because that's the enjoyment. And I'm excited because we've been married for a number of years. Only can do the maths, right? But you still don't know when we got married. So we've been married for a number of years, and it has been fruitful, it has been wilderness, it has been cocoon season, it has been fights, it has been tears, it has been joys, it has been movement, it has been travel, it has been staying still, it has been almost homelessness, it has been with car, without car, it has been up and down, roller coaster, round and round. But we're still in it to win it. Guys, we understand the calling that is upon our lives, and we understood our purpose wholeheartedly before we encountered each other. And this next part is that will be where you now meet me with him, will feature the encounter. So guys, I am excited for all that we have to tell, and I am praying over this YouTube ministry. I am praying over wherever you're seeing this. Is it either on TikTok, Instagram, I don't know about Facebook, maybe wherever you're seeing this, we are praying, and we hope that, and we have covering as we share this part of us with you, that through our obedience would have led us together to cultivate and create this beautiful life that we're living. And I can't wait to take you guys on the journey. We are in a very pivotal season of our life that you won't hear about it until, right? But stay tuned, guys, because this is going to be a sweet, savory, saving, Holy Ghost filled, anointed room of the calling by the Lovells. Guys, I'm telling you, I'm excited for the deposit that God has given into us that we are going to release. We have gone through it to make your journey, your dip, bridged, right? We are helping you. We are going to be authentic. We're going to be obedient. We're going to be just open to what God wants on this channel. So you can stay tuned, subscribe. Make sure to subscribe. I'm going to wait a little bit. And let me see the subscription going. Yes, yes, Yes. Thank you guys. Thank you for subscribing. We want to help you guys on your journey as well, but that's not the point of this video. This video is to end my journey pre meeting my husband, how I met my husband, and I'm excited for what is to come to share with you guys. Of course, comment below and let me know if there's any part of the stories or my journey that I would have shared that you'd want me to go into more details about. Thank you guys for staying tuned. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for all of that. And I pray that you'll be blessed and you continue to live in the love and light of God. So until the next story is told, bye guys.
Wake up.